daunting to stand here and try to compete with you guys to say something that makes sense to these guys. But I'm here, so let me see what I can do. I'm going to try and stick to the concept model that Mike talked about and the emotional states. I think I experienced everything, not once, but throughout. I must have repeated it. It just went on a loop. And then I got out of it somehow. So hopefully I can share that journey with you. But before I move on, how many of you here are entrepreneurs? Well, there's quite a lot of you, and then there's quite a lot of you who haven't raised your hand yet. And then, how many of you here want to make money? I saw a lot more hands go up. Great. And how many of you here want to keep that money? Oh, good. Okay, great. So maybe I might add some value here. So let me talk about entrepreneurship through my angle. Has anyone gone on a roller coaster ride? You go to a theme park, there's that thing that goes whirly and everyone's excited, they pay a lot of money for it. Then they stand in long queues and they're excited, they want to get there. And as they're getting closer and closer, they're getting butterflies in their stomach, right? And they're thinking, I'm afraid of twists and turns, I might throw up, I might get a stroke, a heart attack. And then, as they get closer, they're even getting, you know what, hey, babe, let's just go. This was not for me. Let's do something else. And then you have no choice. You've reached the gate, and it's your turn to get in. And then you get in, and you sit down, you buckle up, and you're excited. And then this thing starts going slowly. It starts going rising, and you're like, And then it reaches the top. And then you can see down there, and all of a sudden, it goes whoosh. Yeah, and you're screaming the hell out of things. Why did I do this? Why did I even think of this? Why did I come here? Finally, the thing comes to a stop. And you're like, thank God. And then you come out, and you go, hey, let's go back in the line. Let's stand again. That's entrepreneurship. That's what you're going to go through. A roller coaster of emotions. And then somehow you're just going to come back to it. And you think, I'm never going to do this, but you come back. And that's my journey. So I'm going to try and give you a synopsis of the 5 states that I went through. So if you allow me, I'll try and break my journey down from the beginning to the rise, and then to the fall, and hopefully to the comeback. So I'm 22 years old. I start my first business. 23, I get married. 27, I start my second business, Safaricom dealership, one of the first ones. And at that same time, I'm becoming a father. I have my first daughter. I'm 27. 30, I sell the business, make a lot of money. And then I have my second child. At 35, I'm a multimillionaire in dollars, not in shillings and not Zimbabwean dollars. And I'm enjoying the high life. At 42, my company, if I'm allowed to say it, was PC World, and I started from nothing, and at 42, it's become a super brand. And just like George, it's a super brand, but you're wondering, you don't have money for the next event. And at 43, I'm fighting bankruptcy, divorce, and near depression that's leading me to suicidal thoughts. 49, I'm back in the game. I'm back, I'm stronger, I'm wiser, and I'm much happier. Right? I'm living a life of harmony. Thank you. And 53, I turned 53 last week, 1 week ago. I'm living a life of balance. My partner is there. If you think that you had a divorce, you always get something better. There's always a better model waiting. And that partner of mine was very instrumental in bringing me back in the journey, bringing me back in the game. But I'll come to that later. So let me now start with the beginning. I'm 22 years old. I'm a young adult. I've been told, and I learned this from Mike in one of his podcasts, that we grow up in ages of 7. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 34. At 21, I'm a young adult. I just found out that the human brain develops at 25. So at 22, no experience, no capital, I go on to start a business. Okay? All the odds are against me. But I don't have baggage, I don't have experience, and I think naivety was my biggest strength at the time, because I didn't have anything to compare with. All I knew that I wanted to run my own business. So I went on to do business. I ignored all the stats against me, and I went on to do it. So that was my first, what I would say as a lesson, that we sometimes overthink. I was never overthinking, and maybe it was just me being too young and silly. So it worked in my favor. And I went on to do businesses. Then I started a second one, and everything was going really well. And I became so successful in my not overthinking decisions that it moved from confidence to arrogance, and I didn't even know it. Right? So now, at some point, because at 35, I'm a multimillionaire, and at 43, I'm battling bankruptcy. What happened? What happened? Well, guess what? I got caught in this trap called the succession trap of the past. Because every decision that I was making was turning into gold. So I was just going for it. And then I'm getting these people coming along the way, and they're telling me, you're doing the right thing, but you need to slow down a little. I had these people coming along and telling me that. And you know what I used to say? These guys are just jealous of me. You know, what are they going to tell me? I'm the one who built this, really. What are they saying? Why are they even saying this? And I used to just shove it off. But the signals were coming. What was I doing? Ignoring. All right, fine. Keep going. I keep going. I opened offices in Tanzania. I even had an office in my peak. I had an office in Dubai. And we were doing distribution from all over, and we were aiming for Africa. But what was my skill? And George alluded to this. He said he was a software guy, right? And then at some point, he had to run a business, and he had to move away from his skill. So we all have a superpower. My superpower was I could sell, I could market, I could think forward, I could see competition, I could see what was going to happen, I could see the trends. So I was always taking those opportunities, and I just kept going forward. But at some point, from one little branch, I had 6 branches. I had cross-border offices. The dynamics changed. And could I handle it as a salesperson? Really, no. So my strategy was good. My execution was poor. My cash flow was getting depleted. At the same time, competition in the industry was increasing, and the market dynamics were changing. But who was I? I was Mr. Arrogant. I could do it all. And I continued. Then came the fall. Now, I want you to imagine, and I don't do this, please, this is a disclaimer I'm going to put out there. I don't do it to blow my trumpet. I do it for you to understand what emotional turmoil I must have gone through at that time. Right? So at your peak, when you are traveling the world, you've got all those fancy cars that you can dream of. As your 40th birthday present, you buy a Range Rover Sport, and you have an S-Class and a Jaguar sitting out there, and you think you've arrived. So you are in the pinnacle of your career. Everyone is looking at you as the golden boy. Started from nothing and built this empire. And then, it's all going to foreclose. Little did they know, and what I was going through internally, that I had all this debt that had piled up for the silly decisions I had made. Right? And eventually, the decision was made on the 21st anniversary of me starting that business. On the 21st anniversary, I shut the business. And that was the beginning of mental turmoil and emotions you cannot imagine. In fact, the reason I speak here now is because I wouldn't even wish my enemies to go through this. And I want to talk about this stuff so that people can learn from this, especially that Gen Z group up there. There's a lot of stuff you can avoid. When you're young, you're going to go through phases where you think you're untouchable. But really, we need to share this knowledge so people don't make these mistakes. So now, I'm literally going through depression. On my 21st anniversary, I asked my wife for a divorce. So now, 21st anniversary of PC World, gone. 21st anniversary, family, goodbye. And I make a promise to myself, the next 21 years, I'm going to live a life on my own terms. But I'm not going to give up. And what made me come out of this whole state was when I was attending a webinar during COVID, and the facilitator was asked one question. He was asked, what is your definition of success? So the guy goes, my definition of success is achieving what I value. So I was like, okay, that's good. So then the facilitator says, your next question to me should be, in this season of my life, what do I value? So the guy asked the question and he answered, and it hit me like a light bulb. Because at that moment, there was only 4 things in my mind. Number 1, I need to get these bankers off my case. I need to get that noose off my neck. I need to get the creditors out of my face. Number 2, I need to finish with this divorce because this is killing me. Number 3, the kids need to be educated. They cannot be here in high school and then they're going to be dropped out and they're going to just end up doing nothing. I have very talented kids, not just because they're my kids, but they're really talented. So those were the 3 things. And the 4th thing was, whatever happens, I just got to be healthy. So that definition of success changed everything for me. And I reprogrammed my mind and said, okay, if I can achieve any one of these 4 things, am I successful? In my head, I answered, yeah, because that's the dominant thought in my head. So then, from the age of 43 to 49, I went on to start solving and facing each and every one of those problems head on. Right? I said killing myself is the easy way out, but a lot of people will suffer in the process. Let me get this. What have I got to lose anyway? I've lost everything. The only way is up. They keep saying it. Okay, let's try it. And that's how I went. I went on, got the banks off my case. Then, on January 7th, 2021, the bank they basically gave me my get out of jail card. I got them out of my case. Few months later, I got my divorce done. Now, my 2 children have educated, they've studied in the universities of their choice, and they're both independent and working. I think I'm still healthy. So, for me, that was it. I've reached where I had to be. Thank you. And now I'm in a place where I'm saying, okay, this roller coaster ride taught me a lot. When I was young, I could handle all those emotions. Now I'm clear about one thing. There are many things I do not want to do. That journey has taught me a lot. So I've become so much clearer on what I want and what I want to do moving forward. So if you tell me, I have all these people approaching me with business ideas, I just keep saying no, I'm not interested. I don't want to do anything now that is going to take my peace and happiness. So I'm now very clear that in my rebuild, I know what I want. And that because I clear what I want, I don't have to go on a discovery phase. I will just stick to that path. And one of those things, and the reason I'm standing here, is to help create impact. I want to be a guide, a compass, to help entrepreneurs so that they don't have to go through what I went through. They say we entrepreneurs, we create wealth, yeah? But I challenge the thinking. How many have lost wealth? We're wealth destroyers. I destroyed wealth, right? And then I came back to this journey. So that's why I asked the question. You want to make money? You want to be wealthy? Great. But you want to keep it because you don't want to destroy it. And so this is my new journey. Hopefully I can help people avoid the mistakes I do, and I'll talk the lessons that I would have told my younger 30-year-old self. So look forward to the interactions. Thank you.